Welcome back to All the Smoke Unplugged. We got a special interview today with the one and only Howard White, the man behind a lot of stuff with Nike. I hope you guys enjoy this interview as much as I did. We got a special one today, man. Some call him the Godfather of Jordan Brand, that is. Someone who's been very, very instrumental behind the scenes. I personally haven't seen him talk too much. So I'm excited I get a chance to sit down and pick his brain for a little bit today. Welcome to the show, Howard White.
Jack, appreciate you, boy. You got Jack in Atlanta.
Jackson, Atlanta, I'm here holding
Matt
it down.
is right here.
We're here.
But I'm going to say to both of you all how much I appreciate that giving me a small amount of your time.
Nah, thank you. We for amount of your time, you're a very important, busy man.
Yeah, I hope not.
So 1978, been with Nike since 1978. Joined the company as a marketing representative. Currently sit on vice president of Jordan Brand. Let's get into the story of how this all started.
Well, they fudged a little bit because actually it was 82. Well, I wish I was there in 78.
Okay, so 82.
It was actually 82 when I started.
Okay.
And, how did this start? It probably couldn't happen today. To tell you how it started, I have to go back to who that young guy is. The young person that, as I'm told, born in Hampton, Virginia, born premature, early premature, can't breathe, heavy asthma. So you would think in 1950, that may be a death wish, some kind of way I pulled through. Maybe I had a praying mother who believed in me. Also, the lessons that she taught. And I tell you that because that's how I've become who I am. We walked by the old man in my neighborhood, Mr. Lee, heavy limp. She spoke. Hey, Lee, how you doing today? Hi, Miss Lil, how are you? You have a great day, you hear? Then down south, that's what people do. Howard was throwing rocks at the stop sign because they told me if you can hit the zero dead in the middle, cow jumps over the moon, stars run around the sky. You see Mr. Lee 50 times a day. What's the big deal? When we passed him, she stopped me. She said, and you let that be the last time in your life you ever pass by someone and not open your mouth to speak. Because even a dog can wag its tail when it passes you on the street. She only said it twice in my lifetime. The second time, she was in the hospital. I was in Denver traveling, and I called her. I was writing a book, Believe to Achieve, see the invisible and do the impossible. I said, Mama, what would you want your grandchildren, their children in the world, what would you like them to know about you? She said, I would like them to know I know how to treat people. Because even a dog can wag his tail when it passes you on the street. That little few words carried me through life.
How old are you at this time?
I am, that time, I'm in the 8th grade.
So
7th, 8th grade. So,
13,
12,
14.
13, right in there. And we go down. And I remember going to an all-white school, to my knowledge. There no kids in the gym. This is not a good place to be. Ain't no kids in here. 3 men, 3 white men. We don't need to be in here. We should leave. One man says, would you kids like to play a game? We can beat them. They old people. They shouldn't even be out on the court. Well, guess what? We played them. They changed the rules. You know, wherever I played, when I did, you get the ball, you put the ball back up. Whoever got the ball. They invented new rules. You got to take the ball back behind the line, son, when they changed. No, son, you got to take the ball. No, son. The whole game was no, son, take the ball somewhere else. They beat us to death. I'm walking off, head down, stop when you could drink out of water fountains. Got a sip of water. Man walks up. How you doing, son? My name is Jim Hathaway. I'm the coach of Kickertan High School. You ever heard of the big old Oscar Robertson? Yeah, that's like asking somebody if they ever heard of Kobe or Michael or LeBron. Of course. He said, if you listen to me, you could be just like the big O. He's lying. I can't even play basketball. I was dumb enough to go home. I went in the woods and cut some trees down. Came out, dug holes in the dirt. Because it was on like a quasi-farm. Went and found soda bottles in the ditches along the road. Cashed them in. Went to Western Auto. I bought me a basketball and a goal. Nailed it up. I shot a lot of basketball. So as you start progressing, you start believing more. Mm-hmm. I looked in the Scholastic magazine. You got a better chance of going to college if you're a class officer. Nobody in my family ever been to college. So I asked one of my coaches, the guy was out there, I said, Coach, do you have a better chance of going to college if you're a class officer? That could be, Howard. Why would you want to run for class office? I said, Thanks said if you class officer, you got a good chance to go to college. Mm-hmm. Maybe. What would you run for? It didn't say. Secretary, treasurer, I don't know. He said, let me ask you something. I said, yes, sir. Can you tell me who the salutatorian is at Kickertan High School? No. Maybe that was too hard. How about the valedictorian, smartest person in school? I said, I can't tell you that either, so I guess I can't run for office. He said, maybe you're going too fast. They can tell me who you are. I said, no, people don't know me. He said, I guarantee you they know. I said, that's crazy. He said, run for class president. That way you can tell the secretary and the treasurer what to do. I said, that's brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? I become class president of a school that 540, 510 are all white. The one friend, we still friends today, he said simply one thing. Howard, there weren't enough black people at Kickertan to fit in the telephone booth. They didn't vote you as president. We all did. How you choose to see the world, and that's where we get into, man. How you choose to see the world actually can direct your life flight path in the world. And when I got to college, only one letter on the back of my uniform. H in quotations. So when you look at the lens of the world, you start growth. Because what most people miss is this. They're looking at a window that is so narrow that they can't ever see what's on either side. These people kept opening up my window. I got hurt my senior year of high school because they tell me in the newspaper said he can't jump. He can jump to the ceiling, screw the light bulbs out before he come down. After one knee operation, heavy one, because they ain't know what they just cut you open, take some stuff out, throw this away, throw that away, sew this up,
Especially back then. Do you know what injury you had?
Yeah, I think it was
ACL, MCL,
ACL, MCL. Ooh. So they didn't know. And there was no rehab. They put you in a cast for about 2 months. You get out. I'm like, shoot, I'm good. But actually, they wrap you so much tape up that you really couldn't move. That was still pretty good. By my senior year, I got hurt again. Hurt the other knee. We had just won the NIT championship. We think we can go on. We can win the NC2As. We good. After I got hurt again, I was like, this ain't fun. He said, well, they gonna draft you. They gonna do this ain't fun. John Lucas. Luke had just come in as a freshman. All-American in tennis, All-American in basketball. He was the person that took my place. So I committed that I would help him be the best he could be. Number one guy picked in the draft. Still played some world team tennis. That was the person that after he had been in the league and doing it, every time he would come back, I would help him. Hey, let's get together. Let's play tennis. Let's do this. That was the person that told me there is this great job at Nike. It's like 1981. I said, what's Nike? He said, oh, you would love it. Yeah, what is it? He said, tell him, Deb. It's why wouldn't he? He would love it. So he told me the guy's name that was going with his sister was Kenny White. You ever looked in the phone book and try and find a Kenny White? Was it K. White, Ken White, Kenneth White? You can't find the phone book because you all not familiar.
I'm
white pages. You remember that? Resident, yellow pages, businesses.
Yep.
I'm looking in the, where is it, Kenny? Oh, Jesus Christ. It was one Kheni, White. I said, that's the guy. I know it's the guy. I called the number. He said, oh, yeah, I heard about you. I know about you. They give me a going away party. Why don't you just stop by? Cool. We talk. Send me your resume. Okay. He get back in a couple. He said, well, they're going in a different direction. So that no job, no more. Okay. A couple of months later, when can you start? Wow. After I played, I became a coach at Maryland. Working with the guys who comes out of high school. They say, well, can you recruit him? He's from Petersburg.
Big Moses.
Big Moses Malone. Moses averaged 25 boards and 12 block shots a game. We became extremely close. His moms, we became really, me and Murray, we were close. First time I recruited him, I went down there. Moses, that was, people see Moses, say, there's Moses. Grown coaches running out of the hotel. I'm like, these people are crazy. So I go to the house. Murray answered the door. I said, is Moses here? She said, no, he's not here. I said, okay. I said, well, come on in. So I go in, we sit down. She just come back from work. We sit there back then, looking at her stories, Edge and Night, one of them. Next thing, me and Murray sleep on the couch. I'm sleep, she sleep, wake up an hour. I said, no, that's okay, we fine. I'm going to tell, she called him Tiny. I'm going to tell Tiny you came by. I said, okay. I would go by, say, he not, I'll tell him you came. And eventually when we became like this, I mean, Mo visited every college on the planet. We would go to dinner. He said, no, Howard, against the rules. You can't buy that. Mo's pulled out a stack of money. I got it.
As a high school kid,
yeah,
huh?
I'm like,
NIL before
say
NIL,
what?
huh?
And so we really became close. He came, signed at Maryland, got drafted by the Utah Stars at the time. We went down. There was Lee Fentress in them. He came out, he said, Howard, I wrote down and put in my Bible, I wanted to be the first player to go from high school to the pros. I think if I don't do this, God will punish me because this was a promise to him. Well, you can't break promises to God. Won't go. When I got to Nike, first person that was there, Moses Malone. And that was when they were on that run. You know, he come to Philly, dark, boom, magical, MVP, 444. And I mean, we were friends all the way up until he passed. But then other people, then the Barclays, the MJs, and all of these people started coming. There was one thing in common, Moses and Mary. MJ, Mama J. Charles, Granny. Tiger, Tita. See, mothers played a special part in my world. That was the lens that I tended to see everything through. And as Nike kept growing and moving forward, at some point I realized maybe God didn't want me to play basketball. That's why I kept getting hurt. I need to listen. The other skill sets. Even a dog can wag its tail when it passes you on the street. So really, when you start paying attention to what you are, we often as people see this as humans. They're animals that control most of the universe. Remember, MJ was Black Cat. But in retrospect, what you have to see is this. And people don't understand. The ocean waters about 3/4 of the whole earth. Isn't it funny that humans are 3/4 of the whole earth? I mean, 3/4 of the whole earth, the whole body. I'm going to tell you one play, because you said it, the mental fatigue. And I said, you know what happens? How about when you can put that all in one? You said, boy, they'd be strong. I'm going to take one play and pull it right to mind. Let's go. Last championship, Utah. Remember, Karl Malone goes down low, comes across, he gets the ball.
And comes back and steals it.
Been doing it all game. So I asked him, now he was doing that all game, why didn't you do anything? Didn't need it then. I said, so you formulated that you did not need it. Yes. So I often think of MJ as a whale. You know, whales are dominant. I mean, you look at this massive creature that grace, look how much of the ocean. These are stories of people. They can go down, dive out. They're whales that live 200 years. The sperm whale, if you go back to, I don't know how much kids reading today, but Moby Dick, the intelligence that he had. But there is but one animal that controls the outcome of the sea. That's the orca. They travel in pods. It's the eldest, who is a female. She's the leader. She knows where to hunt. She knows how to feed. She knows how to water, because she's been doing this for years and years. So I believe he became an orca. The intelligence quotient. Not just the physical. They take down anything. And I often say just this. If you interview the orca, could it tell you why? What it would say is, I am orca. This is what we do. And it's been taught from generation to generation to generation. They teach their young the brilliance of, you can have a seal on ice. They teach them how to use their dorsal fins. They flip it off with their tail. They put it back. They don't eat, they put it back so the youngsters can do it. Teaching them this is what we do. They have cultures. Each part does things a different way, but they teach. The whale MJ that can probably score whenever he wanted to. And he had that type of ability.
Mm-hmm.
It's the orca MJ that knows how to orchestrate a strike. When he became orca, guess what? Championships started flowing in. Therein is the mental aspect
Mm-hmm.
of how you see the world.
Yeah.
So I think that we all have almost a magical guide. Most people just don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see the world? The albatross. They can travel thousands of miles over the sea without ever landing. Think of what they see. The wise owl hunt at night. Not fast, smart. So when I see the world, the universe, I just don't look at it one-dimensionally. And as I rose up in Nike, it was one person, Phil Knight, who made me a believer. We were at the first Nike Town, I'll never forget it. First one that opened in Portland. We went, we looked around, we saw everything. At the end, I said, what we doing? What's I mean, like shoes selling? He said, what you see? I see a lot of shoes, a lot of clothes, a lot of I see all of that. He said, and if that's what we're selling, we're already out of business. We are selling an idea of what someone could become. Take it away, the outcome of a shoe or this sale. No, the outcome of what someone could become by believing in something bigger than them. I would take Michael, or Mr. Knight, I would take him to Michael every quarter. So MJ, I want you to sit down with a multi-billionaire just to see how they think. Yeah, you doing okay on it, but I want you to sit with a multi-billionaire to see how they think. See, that starts turning the table of how you see the world.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So I think that as I rose up, I kept going. You know when you get pretty good at something? I mentioned to you about the movie about Dragonfly. They're hunted relentlessly.
Absolutely.
There was an FBI investigation. All of a sudden, I was a spy. So had to go through that whole investigation. Cool. And when you do that, either it takes a little from you or it gives you something. And for me, fortunately, I was pretty good in college, in high school actually, very good. They say I just played. But I remember one school, all of these schools recruited me, and one school said, Guy, so don't, if you come here, we're going to pay you this money, we're going to build this arena. This will be the arena that Howard White built. Here are the blueprints. Put money for your clothes. You got all the clothes. We're going to pay sports writers to write about nothing but you. Make sure you make all American. We're going to do this for your boom. And if you don't make it, you're executive for life at my company. I didn't do that. But he called back later and said, we looked at the books and we can double it. I still didn't do it. And when I got hurt, all the boys said, well,
should have did it.
You blew it. Yep, you, Mr. Nice Guy, you blew it. Of course, they wouldn't say that today.
Mm-mm.
When the FBI thing came along, Mr. Knight said, I understand if you don't want to be here any longer. You can take the biggest severance in the history of mankind. I said, you asked me to come here to help you build something. We haven't finished yet. There's such a thing in life as, who are you? What do you believe in? Because I'm working with some of the greatest athletes on the planet. Who am I? And what do I believe in? Because that's what I'm trying to translate to them. I'm still at Nike today because I'm trying to translate who are we and what do you believe in? And it's simply selling a shoe to make money you don't believe. Who are you and what do you believe in? My belief system goes far beyond a shoe or article of clothing. It goes to a mark that can bring people to a central belief of what's inside and what greatness looks like.
So I want to backtrack a little bit. Your initial entry to Nike, your job was to sell what you just explained, sell a dream to elite college basketball players. How did that work out? And then where did Mike fall into that picture?
You know, when I came in as the East Coast field rep.
Okay.
So basically, I was hired on the East Coast to work with the NBA players. I was back in the D.C., Maryland area. So I would go over to the Bullets and the Wizards and basically service all the people that came in. And I did that. I mean, I worked with them. I did that, and it was great. First of all, you knew most of all of those guys. So these are the guys you had played ball with, that you'd known. Even one of the great things I would say about Dr. J, you know, I came up an area when him and Charlie were playing with the Virginia Squires. So I knew them. And we were playing in a game, those summer league games, the urban league. And Doc, he said, Howard, you got your degree? I said, I'm going to get it. He said, you know, they forget pretty quickly when you're out of school. You need to get that now. I said, I'm on it, Doc. And now when I see Doc, I said, Doc, thanks, man. I appreciate it. He said, man, that's what we're supposed to do, right? So it's not hearing, but listening. When you listen to what someone actually is telling you, you are so far ahead of the game. Life has been good, not because I'm not smart, but I was dumb enough to listen to people that saw more in me than I could see.
Mm-hmm.
So I have learned that the universe sees you just as you do.
Mm-hmm. See yourself.
And if you see yourself here, well, what the hell? Why should it see you any other way? It's when you start lifting to see yourself in ways that may be uncomfortable. You get over that pretty quick. And the question, okay, man, look, y'all started a podcast when people aren't doing this. If people are paying attention, podcasts reach more people now than news does.
Mm-hmm.
So the wave of where we are going is listening to people share stories that can elevate you. My daughter, when she ran track, and I would come out, I would watch her, we traveled, would watch her. One day, because she's pretty good, so she won. They down there jubileeing, jumping up and down. The old man come down and said, you know what? If this is what you're going to do, you might as well quit. Hell, I ain't going to follow you all around the world for you to put a half effort in. I won. Well, we ain't talking about winning or losing here. We're talking about what you're actually putting into this. She corrected it. One day we were out, it was pouring raining. I mean, literally pouring. Now, I had an umbrella. Hell, she out running, so she couldn't have an umbrella. And I stopped. I said, I said, Mandy, I called her back. I said, look around and tell me what you see. She said, Dad, it's pouring down raining out here. We the only fools out here. I don't see nothing. I said, so you're not looking. Look around and tell me what you see. She said, the only thing I see is a field full of seagulls. I said, that's correct. So I want you to remember that it's only you and the seagulls out here in this driving rain. Look and find one and let that lead you to victory. So life is a mindset that you choose to accept. And when she, state champion, this, MVP, all of that, it's a mindset that takes you. People don't agree with me. People don't see me. People, who care about that? We ain't trying to impress people. You have to hold yourself accountable to what you want to be. Because that's the only one that needs to see it. And the universe will see you as you see you. Nike. Wow. What a ride. Some of the greatest, most phenomenal people on the planet. But the real deal is, how do you help them achieve their goals? How do you help them see who they are? Forget the game of basketball. It's a game. Game that they have done quite well at. Life goes way past that. Mm-hmm. So let's now discuss who you are. Are we doing the right things? Somebody told me, well, Michael Jordan, 40 years ago, he played basketball. No kids remember that. Maybe that's true. There are not many that's bigger than the game. Ali, bigger than boxing. Matter of fact, I think Ali is just getting ears up on a poacher's stamp. Pele, if you go over to that football world. Jordan. Now, if you went way back, you probably could put Babe Ruth in there. He was bigger than the game of baseball. Tiger would probably be bigger than the game of golf. If you went to music, Elvis Presley, they say Elvis still living out at Graceland somewhere. Way bigger than music. 1961, Elvis made a song, Can't Help Falling in Love. That's probably played at 75% of the weddings around the country. Streamed billions of times. That's 1961. The King, Michael Jackson. Pop icon around the world. Moondance, Thriller, Billie Jean. See, it's not a lot of people, probably the Beatles, that rise above. And there are not a lot of people that can handle rising above.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's a lot.
The racing team. Own the team. Own the motorcycle team. Got a yacht that's bigger than a football field. G7s. Jordan Brand. That says people want to associate with a winning attitude. Because that's something everybody has under their control, how they see it. I failed over and over and over. That is why I succeed. That's everybody. Just because you fail, if you're going to be anything in life, you better fail. It's just when that keeps you down.
Right.
It's when you fail.
You lose.
So my job was to help these young people. Then I had Cynthia Cooper, Lisa Leslie, Don Staley. They were all of my people that said, we can do this. You can do this. So the beauty of life is as you climb, who do you become? Who would have imagined a guy like myself? I worked out all the time. After I couldn't play ball, I swim. And after I stopped swimming, I got a bicycle. I'm riding hundreds of miles. I got a bicycle I'm traveling around the world with. I'm going to the Tour de France. Man, life was beautiful. One day I'm walking up the stairs in Tiger Woods. I can't make it up the stairs. Literally, I cannot make, I'm like, what in the world? Me? This can't be. So, can't breathe. Finally, my wife, she said, what is, I said, I don't know, but I'll be okay. She said, no. We going to the hospital. Matter of fact, it was going to be 4th of July that Monday. She said, and we going before then because the doctors might be out on vacation. Mm-hmm. We going to the hospital. We went. They look at you. They do all this stuff. They say, well, we just want to keep you overnight. Mm-hmm. Of course, overnight became about 10, 11, 12 days. Damn. That's it, your heart. We found it's got this amyloidosis. What's that? Well, it's this amyloid that everybody produces it, but in some people, it goes and it can get into your heart, your this, the that. And I think a lot of people, a lot of players have it and have had to have transplants, as I do. Now they have medicines, and once I had it, and then once they said you needed a transplant, I was like, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't stay out, I don't hang out, I don't do any of those things. How could this be me? They said, just maybe that's why you still living. I said, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I don't got no problem with that. I'm good with that. And I was good for a while. They put me on some meds. I was good for a while. I thought, boom, boom, boom. December the 10th, this started in 2017. December the 10th, 2020, I went in and they call it a right heart cath. They go in through your neck, check the heart out, see what's doing. He said, this ain't doing that good. I said, you don't think? He said, no. He said, now if you can leave, but you come back next week, we got to go through this again. I said, what do you think, Doc? He said, well, it's COVID. Where you going? Ain't like you going out, hanging out at the club. Where you going? I said, what you think? Well, I got a room for you upstairs. I said, I'm good. The same guy that had told me in 27 I might need a heart transplant, first guy I saw. I said, you were right, huh? He said, looks like it. And because when he told me then, I said, what's next steps? How fast can we get it going? He came back in the room. After about 20 minutes, he said, this ain't the way people usually take this news. I said, you got a better way to take it?
Right.
Let's do it. And eventually, when I needed it, went in on December the 7th, I saw the world a little different. Because once they're going to give you a transplant, they checking for everything. I said, okay, I'm going to get this like on Christmas. December 25th. I said, that's when it's going to come. Okay. And I remember Dr. Abraham, he called me right. He said, well, Christmas not over yet. I said, yeah, getting pretty close though. He said, well, let's not give up hope. I said, well, I'm not, but it's getting close. The heart came on Sunday. I said, that's when God does his best work on Sunday. I miscalculated that a little bit. I was kind of rushing it, talking about on that Friday. Came on Sunday. He said, I'll deliver this on my time. Y'all trying to mess with me. I'm delivering it. They put it in on the 28th. And my daughter, Mandy, she was running professionally at that time, but she took off about 4 months. So I'm going to come home, want to make sure everybody's good. But the way you see the world, at that time, I was like, yeah, I ain't doing this Nike thing. I ain't doing nothing no more. I'm good. I talked to Mr. Knight. He said, I think it would be good if you still there. I said, for what? He said, I think it would be good. I said, and do what? He said, do you. Just be yourself. So I think that he was saying to me, you are Nike. You are part of this. You've helped structure this. I want you to help the next generation of people believe in something greater than they are. Mm. As I went back and you start thinking, what can you do? That gym that I walked in that first day and couldn't play is the Howard White Court on Howard White Way. Wow. Across town, over in the Bowie Sportsplex where all the AAU people, there is the Howard White Pavilion. AJ2, the Howard White 8 shoe, the imagination. They asked me about a center. I said, I ain't doing no center. That's crazy. Amyloids, I ain't doing that. And Mandy said, my daughter said, why wouldn't you, Dad? I said, because I ain't asking nobody for no money. She said, how do you know what people? I said, well, I ain't going to ask them to find out. She said, I think it would be a good idea. I said, you crazy. She said, I really think it would be a good idea. So there's the Howard White Center, Howard H. White Center for amyloidosis. And when I look at what that has the possibility of doing, is that people will not have to get to where I was. Mm-hmm. People will not have to get to a transplant. And so many business people and friends wanted to support this. And all these people gave all the money. And yeah, MJ gave the orca, the black cat, he gave $1 million. I'm like, really? He said, well, you know what? Yeah, they kept you here. That's what I really am proud of. So when you believe in something, you never know what the universe has in store. And it has saved so many lives. And with all of the work it does, and they found 5 that had amyloidosis that didn't even know it. They can treat it. They can move forward. And, I take a drug right now that keeps it from re-entering the heart, gives you a better opportunity. And so to be a bridge for somebody is one of the most beautiful things in the world. So when you look at having a heart transplant, you look at the medicines that now can prevent that if we have the knowledge, if we're open to what people tell us. And sometimes that's all it takes. Mm-hmm. That narrow window gets to open and open and open. Just like when I took MJ, Mr. Knight, to see him, somebody else was listening to me. You start learning of a world that you couldn't even fathom. Mm-hmm. Then I could always talk to him. What do you think about X, Y, and Z? What does that do? He's a multi-billionaire telling this little kid from Virginia, oh, I think you should do this now. You should. That's crazy. Even a dog can wag its tail when it passes you on the street. I have been around the greatest athletes on the planet. I have been around people worth millions and millions and billions and billions. The best advice I have ever gotten. Even a dog can wag its tail when it passes you on the street. So someone were to say, what you attribute your life to? The little old lady with a 6th grade education that says even a dog can wag its tail when it passes you on the street. So my life is a reflection of all of those that have gone before me and all of the people that I can touch, that they might see the greatness within them. That's all you want them to do. Just see it. See the possibilities. Don't look at who you think you might be because of your circumstances, because of where you're from, because of the school you went to, because I was born in poverty and there's no way out. Because that person doesn't look like me. That person doesn't talk like me. There's a fix for all of that, man. Education. Listening to elders. Listening to teachers. And I know a lot of young people think they don't know what they're talking about. Maybe they don't. But they know a little bit more than you. So listen, listen, listen. It might reframe the way you see yourself.
Absolutely. Take us back to meeting Mike and developing a friendship and getting him on to the Nike side, because it was all but done. He was an Adidas guy to begin with.
All the way.
So how did you?
All the way.
I'm sure after sitting talking to you for a little while, I think what you told him obviously worked.
You know what? Yeah, okay. If we really, really, really looked in depth, remember MJ was a youngster. And I knew all the boys, Phil, for all the guys that have been there. I mean, I knew them. I recruited them. And they, hey, tell me about this kid. Oh, hey, boom, 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 boom. But he's an Adidas guy now. That's all he wear. It's Adidas. I said, really? That's all he wears. But he's a great kid. Good parent, good guy. Ooh, he can play now. But he's an Adidas guy, okay? Let's go back a little bit. Probably same with you, man. Remember that orca? Led by a female. They saw the spurge of the land. They know where to feed. They know this. David Falk, who was his agent, D. Falk, and he had him, hey, we can do this and this and that. MJ there just won the championship. Then he just went to the Olympics. So he told his parents, told David, I'm not going out there. I already know what I want to do, so I'm not going. So Pop talked to him, called them and said, you know, we should go out there and listen to them people. I'm not going. Y'all go if y'all want. I'm not going. I know what I'm going to do. Gave the phone to his mother, Dolores, Mama J. Well, he said he ain't coming. I see you at the plane. You know what time it leaves. I see you at the plane. In the conversation. He may not have wanted to come, but Mama said, this is what we doing.
Right.
He got there. Now, I'm sure the whole time he pissed, don't want to be there, and what the hell, they're wasting my time. Then as he got, I was late. Somebody, how the heck was you late to the meeting? I went to a lawyer who was in D.C. at the time, he was there, David Smith. He said, well, I said, man, I got a big meet. Michael Jordan coming in. Well, let's go get a lunch. I said, man, hey, I got a big meet. And it's right around the corner, man. We can be right back. Ain't no big deal. Let's go get a lunch. The place was not right around the corner. That place way out in the boondocks. Hell makes you tavern. I'm like, the hamburger was like this big. I'm like, Smith, plenty of time. Well, I don't know if I was that late or they was that early. But when I got there, they there. Just maybe that was a plan from somewhere other. Maybe God put it like that. Because Pop said, the only black guy here and he late. What the world are we going to do? Our people. Bam. But we there. Everybody's talking, boom, 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 Strauss, and we got all these plans. We all talk through it. He won't play, he ain't play his cards, He loved that poker and stuff. You ain't know what he was thinking. Little clothes, boom. They had the music playing, the videos and jumping. So, but you never know. I think, Pop, son, you got to look at this. But he did go to all the other places. At that time, Converse was the king.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had everybody.
Mm-hmm. Dr. J, Magic,
everybody.
Bird. Mm-hmm.
Bird, Magic,
Doc.
Ice,
Mm-hmm.
Doc. I mean, they had Marco. They had everybody. Adidas had like Cap and Marcus Johnson. They had a few people. Then they had the all the rap thing, Run DMC, the whole nine. So I think Pop was like, that's pretty good, what they talking about. So after all you think about the audience, they ain't gonna pay them young kid like that all this money. That's ridiculous. We got the best guy. We got Cap. We got this. What fool people would pay him all that money? Converse. They got everybody. Yeah, we probably make another one of these people. Nike didn't have all of that. We had a few players and Sidney Wicks, and Big Mo.
But you guys are known for running shoes more at this time, though, right?
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But Strauss and them, they had a plan. So when I look at us, again, remember if you're listening, when they talking to M, they putting like on the board, they got this huge time man of the year. Wow. First billionaire. But they putting these lofty things up there. Like, wow.
Make them believe.
Wow. You know what? Why not? And, you keep seeing these things. They really went out because now, the commercials, the this, and they made this thing bigger than life. The man that could fly. Wow. Peter designed, the first one, he designed like a little wings logo. It had a basketball wings, kind of taking off when you get the wings when you're on the airplane. They give you the little, that's what the first one was drawn, which was very successful. So I said, Peter, why you changing, man? We good. He said, nah, I think I kind of want something that people can beat on their golf shirt and adults and this. That's when the Jumpman came about. But I still go back to all of those time, man of the year,
first
news. I'm like, whoa, man.
Did you feel like they were sold after the meeting?
I think the parents were probably sold.
Okay.
MJ was, I don't like them things, man. I'm an Adidas guy. Got the pretty warm-ups. They got the shoes. I'm an Adidas guy. But they weren't willing to stretch out and do. Even when we did it, I was like, damn, this is crazy. She's a young kid. We're going to give him all that money? And D. Falk was the one that said, Air Jordan. I said, that got a pretty good ring to it. Air Jordan. So you start thinking of how that thing started spreading. People that started believing. and something amazing. And he did the basketball part, but having a transference of belief. And people say, well, it was basketball. I said, no, that just happened to be a platform that he was on. Because everything he's ever touched has kind of been. So that was the platform. You all confuse the platform with what really is.
So that original designer, what was his name again?
Peter Moore.
He left for Adidas.
He did. Him and Rob.
Was there any truth to the rumor that MJ was possibly following, or is that urban legend?
Well, no, not a real urban. No, I think, MJ thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And Peter said, I think where you are, it's
really?
where you belong.
Interesting.
Because they were, about wanting clothes and this. And M, again, he's young. Then Pop was like, hey, these people, they've been good. This brand, this Nike, they've been good to him. Phil came on, he talked to him. So I think, again, you start seeing something that's bigger than a basketball player.
On comes Tinker, and he helps, as you mentioned earlier, design 3 through 15. When do you kind of feel like, at what point did you and Mike really start developing a relationship where he trusted you, you trusted him, and it really became more than a business, it became a friendship?
Well, that's probably right off the bat.
Okay.
I remember once we signed him, we just paid him a lot of money.
Do you mind at that? Because obviously shoe deals today are crazy. At that time, do you recall what the number was?
Like $350, something like that.
350,
$350. I mean, it wasn't. Well, yes, that was astronomical then.
That's what I'm saying. That was huge.
Yeah. Because at the beginning, if you were a superstar, like $100,000. This was like off the charts, and a percentage from the shoe.
5% royalty, right?
Yep. And so, again, nobody thought that it would be
what it was,
what it's become. But again, they were looking from a pure basketball perspective.
He created a lifestyle brand, period.
He created something that, again, and I use the orca because what happens, it's a part. When you belong to something that you feel that intrinsically you are a part of, you grasp that too.
Yep.
I can jump higher than that old man. I think I can fly. Felipe Lopez, I remember his moms told him, maybe you could be like the man that could fly if you work hard enough. So once you see the possibility of something that can transcend. My mama, she said, well, I want to go see Michael Jordan. I said, Mama, you can't walk up them stairs. I think I could.
Right.
Yeah, no, you can't. My daughter, Mandy, she was a little kid. MJ was over there and he was asleep. And she was like, shh, Uncle MJ sleep. Don't wake him up. What you know about Uncle MJ sleep? So, when you think about something that's bigger than life, we look at basketball. That's the same guy that told her when he was there, you got somebody to take you to the prom? He said, well, no. Call Uncle MJ. If you don't, I'll fly in and take you. It's a little 16-year-old girl. She got to be, whoa.
Can you imagine that? That's insane.
So once you start seeing something bigger, a bigger belief, a trajectory that says it's possible.
As you said, basketball is the vehicle. It's the inspiration and the dream and the motivation. Yeah.
And so once you're able to open up your mind to see what's possible.
Yeah.
The work you put in is just the price. I mean, hell, if you go in and ask for it right now, they ain't giving it to you. Whoa, okay. How bad do you want this? Now, either this is something that you have dreamed about all of your life, or you think you're getting a Chevrolet Nova. And if you've dreamed about it all your life, I know what it takes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself in a position that one day.
Yep. It's going to be me. I'm going to get it. Yeah.
Isn't that life?
Mm-hmm. The one obviously broke all kinds of numbers and expectations. Jordan 2 didn't perform as expected.
True.
So there was pressure with the new designer coming the threes. What was the mindset around the team for the threes?
It was very funny. This is very funny. Now, Tinker and I are like this. It didn't start out like that. We at the meeting, and Tinker and them, they had been doing, I guess, their designs and drawings, and they came and they showed all of these things. We came to the meeting together, and they showing them all of this stuff. And M says, "Hey, what you think? Don't look that good to me." Yeah, I'm with you. I ain't feeling it. Now, the backlash, they say, well, the only one, Fred's right, the only one that could probably hurt you is Tinker. I said, what's the problem? You said something that he's upset about. So I called Tinker, give me the number. I said, what's up, Tinker? He said, I'm not afraid to say it. We put in a lot of work. We put in hours and days and weeks to do this. And you can just sit in a meeting and say that you don't like something? Yes. He said, no. I said, whoa. He asked for my opinion, did he not? He said, well, no, he asked for my opinion. So now what you want me to lie?
Right.
I don't do that. If he asked for my opinion, I'm going to give him my opinion. I'm not going to lie to him. He said, well, you matter that much? I said, I don't know.
I think so.
He said, well, maybe we need to get together before we do these meetings.
There you go.
I said, it might not help, but that could hurt. It won't hurt you. So that's what, again, me and Tinker became, we like this. Mm-hmm. Because now there was an entree. He could go to MJ's. He could go in the closet. He could be in the garage. He could look at the cars. Mm-hmm. And he could start formulating
who he was.
Mm-hmm. Then that could go into the shoe.
Oh.
So from, I can't believe he's sitting here telling him that he don't like something, to, again, best of friends.
That's dope.
Best of friends.
Was the 3 to 5, Jordan's 3 to 5, was that the best 3-year run of sneakers ever? Arguably?
Pretty good now.
He said pretty good now.
That's a pretty good run. And I think the 11 was pretty good. And probably the audacity to, after he stopped playing, to keep going with shoes. See, because at that point, it's over. Even Mr. Knight, we were coming back, he said, it's been a good run. I said, what are you talking about? Been a good run. What do you mean? He said, well, you're not playing anymore, so we've had a good run at this. I said, well, whoa. I think this can keep going. He said, how? He's not playing. So the formula is we sign a player, we build a shoe, we market the shoe, we sell a shoe. Good formula, worked. I said, I call Mr. Knight Buck a lot of times. I said, I was out in front of the campus just the other day. Don't know how it happened, but I saw a car pull up to the stoplight. It stopped. It waited. Light turned green. It took off. He said, what the hell are you talking about? I said, it was Mercedes-Benz. And to my knowledge, Mr. Mercedes been dead an awful long time. How could that happen? Point taken. Okay. I said, so, let's build a ghost. Hell, he dead. That's still going.
Mm-hmm.
He's still living. Let's keep going.
Mm-hmm.
He said, maybe we should build a ghost too. So, again, a lot of me is helping people vision.
Bigger picture.
The bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger picture.
Every guy has a core lineup, the perfect kicks, jeans, and tee. But the crucial missing piece is usually the jewelry. That's where GLD steps in. They create high quality pieces that become a part of your daily rotation, not just special occasions. These pieces instantly upgrade your look. GLD is committed to quality. They use real gold and every stone is hand set, and their production standard is second to none. The quality is legit. I got a chain from them and I love it because it's comfortable and lightweight. You'll put it on once and it'll probably never come off. Their selection is huge. Chains, pendants, bracelets, watches, covering every style from super simple to seriously flashy. This isn't just hype. They have over 2 million customers and 50,000 5-star reviews, and they've been seen on some major names like A$AP Rocky, Malik Neighbors, and Micah Parsons. The ultimate reassurance, every piece has a lifetime guarantee. If you want the easiest way to elevate your outfit, this is the essential missing piece you need. Work hard and change the game. For a limited time only, new customers are getting an insane deal. Use code SMOKE to get 50% off at GLD.com. That's 50% off with code SMOKE at GLD.com. After you purchase, they will ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Quick break in the action. Counting down the days until payday, Instacash from Moneyline can help you access up to $500 of your hard-earned pay early. There's no interest, no credit check, and no monthly fees. So you can manage those in-between expenses with less stress. Download the Moneyline app and link your qualifying bank account to see what you qualify for. Moneyline, make money easy. Instacash is subject to terms and eligibility requirements. Expedited delivery requires a turbo fee. See Moneyline.com. Hey Jesse, you know I have one rule to live by, right?
Make sure not to spill your drink if you're sitting courtside. Never wash your lucky jersey. I don't know. You tell me.
Nope. I mean, yes, but those aren't the rules. Always drink your Jägermeister ice cold. That's the rule. Everything else is merely a suggestion.
Everything else.
Everything else.
Wearing clean underwear every day.
Personal decision.
Brushing your teeth.
Obviously smart, but not a rule.
Never pee on an electric fence.
Okay, well maybe there's 2 rules, but the one that I 100% insist on, drink your Jägermeister ice cold, or don't drink it at all.
Damn, that's cold.
Exactly. You're finally starting to get it. Drink responsibly. Jägermeister liqueur. 35% alcohol by volume. Imported by Mast Jägermeister. U.S. White Plains, New York. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You had a totally normal night of responsible drinking, just a few drinks, weren't out late. You did everything right with food, water, but you still woke up feeling bad. That foggy head and low motivation, it feels like the next morning's changed as you gotten older, right? I know the feeling. That's why I tried Cheers, Restore After Alcohol Aid. Honestly, I was skeptical too, but how was my next morning? I slept great and woke up feeling shockingly normal. I felt 50% better. Yes, I'm taking Cheers every time now. Here's how it works. You take one after your last drink or before bed, and it works while you sleep. Their promise is feel 50% better or your money back. You wake up feeling like you drank roughly half the amount. Most people think it's just dehydration, but the real issue is your brain and liver. Cheers Restore helps metabolize alcohol more efficiently and supports overall liver health. Cheers ingredients helps calm your brain's rebound mode while you're sleeping and also helps your liver clear out all those nasty byproducts quicker. It's backed by doctors and over 1,000 verified clinicians. They've sold over 50 million doses, and you can find Cheers in over 30,000 retail locations, including CVS, Walgreens, 7-Eleven, and Circle K. Take Cheers Restores after your last drink or before you go to bed and wake up feeling at least 50% better or your money back. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off their entire order by using our promo code SMOKE at cheershealth.com. Just head to cheershealth.com and use promo code SMOKE for 20% off. After your purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them All the Smoke sent you.
Matt, it's been a long day at work, bro. It's time to get baked.
I couldn't agree more.
No. I mean toasted.
Is that right? Tell them about it.
Gooey, melty, crispy. It's gonna be so good.
Wait a minute. What are we actually talking about right now?
I'm talking about Jimmy John's, man. Toasted sandwiches are a fan favorite at Jimmy John's now. You have to try one of their sandwiches designed for toasting, like the chicken bacon ranch, roast beef and cheddar, ultimate Italian, or the new ham and 3 cheese melt. It features a double portion of smoked ham topped with gooey cheddar, Parmesan, and provolone.
I think I'm gonna add bacon to mine.
You know what? You can add bacon, and you know what that's gonna be on? All on a toasted French bread.
Oh, I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, you can get your Jimmy John's favorite toasted too. That includes, but is not limited to, the number 9 Italian nightclub or the number 11 country club. Discover more possibilities with Jimmy John's toasted sandwiches.
Order online at jimmyjohns.com, on the Jimmy John's app, or just stop by your local Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's, satisfy your toast buds. The following segment is brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Wednesday night, we got a big one. Thunder at Celtics. Could be a preview of the finals. I'm taking Jaylen Brown with the over. That same night, we have the Rockets at the Timberwolves. And I'm taking Kevin Durant, as I always do, with the over. Let's discuss some pivotal moments you were a part of, and this is just to name a few. The baseball years. What was his mental like during the time he stepped away from the NBA and played a little baseball? Obviously, he had just lost his father in that time frame.
Yeah, Pop was gone. You know, here is something quite interesting about, again, let's go back to our earlier conversation about mental mindset.
Mm-hmm.
He had decided, I'm done. You won 3 championships. I'm done with this. I always wanted to play baseball. So he had his whole basement transferred over into like baseball stuff. Weights for baseball, hand stuff. I mean, the entire thing became about baseball. And once he, boom, we went down and we stayed there for the longest. I'll tell you what, man, that was tough. And me and we be up in that suite. Well, double headers and all of that. He said, y'all had them lights out. I know y'all was asleep.
It's the grind,
No. We were
That's in
watching.
little small cities too.
But his mind, because he believed this, that he could be great at that.
Mm.
I mean, so it wasn't even, I missed this, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I can do this. And had he had more time
doing
it, I think he would have done
mm-hmm.
that. He was totally committed to putting in the time, getting there early, staying there late. He had bought a bus so they could travel in style. Not until they had that strike. And remember when they had that strike, he wasn't officially like on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't go in. Yeah, call the plane. Time to go. And at the plane, he tipped the wing down, have him tip the wing to say, thanks, but goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he went back with this thought process as I'm going to play ball, I'm going to go back to basketball, the whole 9. And then he's still MJ. I mean, he had to get in basketball conditioning, change that up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like it was yesterday when he went down, boom, they said, hey, you ever thought about coming back? Yeah. I think the best thing, a lot of people would disagree. He probably would disagree. I think the best thing ever happened to him when he came back and they lost.
To Orlando, yep.
See, you apex predator. This is not you.
Mm.
He called me that summer. Go shoot Space Jam. He said, if I had done my part, we would have won.
Mm.
Okay. Slow your roll. It's a team game now. There's a team game. You can't take, if I had done my part. Summer they went down to shoot Space Jam. Couple of hours out of his lunch break, he lifted. Then they brought all the guys.
But didn't they build that little dome over there for them
Had
to play
the dome.
in? Yeah.
They cleared out an executive parking lot. They built the dome.
Yeah.
So had the weights in there. All the guys would come in. Now think about that. Because he was often late, so he didn't get the prime picks, when they picked him. He just have anybody. Which is probably pretty good. Now can't one of the guys, they had beat him. He's playing with Vancouver, and I remember they were winning in the real game. He said, game was over. Yeah, I told you, Mike. I told you. Yeah, we was gonna get you. He said, okay. Feel like I need to go back in. He scored about 20 in a row.
That was Derek Martin, wasn't it?
Derek Martin.
Yeah.
Derek Martin. Afterwards, he said, keep your little mouth shut. Then the guys, he said, what? Tell him to keep his mouth shut. Y'all would have had the game. It's him. It's his fault.
Yeah.
And see, that's when you knew, oh, well, he ain't playing around.
A little different.
In the way he showed up. Every game. I don't care whether it was the last place team, whether it was a championship game, whether it was practice, he played the exact same. Even Phil Jackson would sometimes, we're going to set the score back, boom. Hey, that's not the score. Well, just keep, no, that's not the score. Well, no. See, you walk out of practice.
The competitor.
See, that mental compass that was saying, no. Why did you play hard, Em? There might be some father that couldn't afford a ticket that got a ticket for him and his young kid. They might be in the gym. And they will never leave and say it, Pop, he ain't that good. I think you could have beat him back in your day. They'll never leave and say that.
Can't do it.
No, that ain't happening.
Not gonna do it.
So when you see his approach, the mental approach and the mental aspect of what he's doing, they're pretty calculated. We went up, remember when he got hurt, he was winning. It was the year of the twos. Broke his foot. Now, common sense would have said, it's the end of the season, man. It ain't like y'all gonna win no championship. He said, I'm ready. It's the end of the season. Hell, take off. Get it ready. Get your foot ready. Start over again. He said, I'm ready. I said, it makes no sense. He said, you don't believe in me? I said, go play. Yeah, I believe. Now go play.
I believe.
He got that, 62, 63 against Boston. I remember when he walked out of the room. He had those Terminator glasses. We had just watched Terminator. He put those glasses on and walked out. I'm ready. Well, we saw what he did.
He was definitely ready.
So his mentality, they won that last game. We had just watched it. Now, remember the shot against Elo? Here's something very powerful. Michael Jordan missed about 3 or 4 free throws in Chicago that would have beat Cleveland. He never misses free throws. When we got to Cleveland, the boys was there, boom, boom, boom. That's when you turn on the movie. There was nothing on the TV. You had to wait for whatever time that was for the movie. He simply stared into the television.
Mm.
Wasn't nothing on there. It was just a blank screen. That's it. You all right? Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm good, H. Okay. And he said, well, I ain't taking that free throw. He took the big, I ain't drive. He hit that big shot. Was that bigger than that moment? Or was that fate? Because he never missed free throws. Was that fate putting him in
That position?
And the world is the very interesting thing. His doubt game, he did not. B.J. Armstrong always said, he learned, he never lost. He won or he learned. His perspective in all of those things. And sometimes when he get beat, he said, okay, that's that time. That's their time. The rest of it belongs to me. Just the way he saw the world.
Nothing wrong with that. The last dance, as that was coming to life and being built, what was he like, and how excited was he about that process?
Of The Last Dance?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he gets excited about a lot of it. It was just life.
Okay.
You know, all the footage had been shot. They interviewing him. I think you saw his true feelings. You saw really the way he led. You know, you saw in that interview he'd be in tears on occasion. Never apologizing for the way he led. And people would come up to me, well, you know, if I could talk to him, you know, there's a modern way that he has to deal with these kids. I said, and you think that's what he would be doing.
Right.
You think he care about, come on, man. Well, kids don't respond to that. And he cares. So, again, that's just who he is. He chose to share who he was to the world.
I think he gave us an opportunity to get to see who you saw on a daily basis. Because, again, this is way pre-social media. So he's always, as we talked before, it's always been the myth or the legend of him. And to be able to kind of open up and see behind the curtains a little bit at a time where you didn't get that kind of access was, I mean, he had the world tuned in.
Ooh, COVID too?
Nothing to do but to do
again,
it.
Could you even plan it like that?
Nothing to it but to do it.
And, I mean, again, his mental acumen. Okay, here's a guy, he got a catch-23. He out in the middle of the ocean, championship fishing for self. He's a guy that was definitely scared of the water. One of his best friends had drowned. He ain't going. And the fact that he's out in the middle, come on. The will to override those things that hold most people back.
Yep.
H, what's an untold story about, like Matt just alluded to, MJ's like mythical almost.
Oh.
Like with today's era, we don't really see him much. Or we didn't see him like people see today's athletes. But you saw him.
Oh, yeah.
What's like an untold story, or maybe whether it's with MJ or the brand that people don't know about that may change their perception?
Here's something that I think what you relate to. Richard Denton.
Chicago Bears.
The Bears. Denny, you know, he was at the games. I'm at the games, so him playing. He said, H, you know, I've been doing a lot of spin classes, man. Let's go cycling. I traveled with a bike, so I always said, I'm good. Yeah, I'll be at the house. I'll be at the house tomorrow. I said, okay. So he came, him, the masseuse, Sue, we went out. And not a big ride, we were like 30 miles. Because when he got home, he said, MJ, he said, hey, wait, Dan. Me and H just went 30 miles, man. 30 miles, man, we went 30 miles. We may say, no, good. Yeah, we went 30 miles a day, man. Later that summer, It's months past. We were over at a tour over in Tokyo, over in Japan. We went to that. Then when we left, I had my bike, so I get out early in the morning and ride way out, and then you could come back with all the traffic, because a ton of traffic, so I just ride back with that. And Em said, man, I wish I had that bike. I'd be out there with you. I said, no, we don't need to do that. And we got in the bike. We got to Hawaii early in the morning. I went to bed, thought he went to bed. The wives that watched the sunrise. My wife came up and said, MJ looking for you. MJ ain't looking for me. He said, no, he is. For what?
He wants your bike.
I don't know. She said, I said, no, he's looking. So I go up. Black. I said, what's up, man? You gonna try to go riding without me. I said, what? Yeah, you gonna try to leave me. You was gonna go riding without me. I said, man, my bike not even together. He would go put it together. I know you gonna wanna leave me. So I go put the bike together. We down there. I said, why? Getting ready to get high. I said, hey, let's go about 10 miles or so. Just get you used to, what? We're going at least 30 miles.
At least. At least.
At least. I said, no, we're going at least 30 miles. So I remember I put one of them mixtures up in this water bottle, keep drinking, put it on this bike. I got me a couple. We out. And I said, MJ, keep drinking, man, because it's getting hot out here. Drink what? To the bottle I can put on your bike. Oh, that thing fell off way back there. Now, he got a T-shirt on that's like a sailboat, big basketball shorts. Oh, the wind just I'm like, Lord have mercy. So we stop. I gave him one of my bottles. Look, keep drinking this. You ain't gonna die out here on my watch. We go, we keep getting water. We about 35, 40 miles. Go back. Richard Dent was never gonna say he did anything better than Michael Jordan.
Couldn't do it.
Never. We were in Mexico. I used to play a little bit of ping pong at the boys' club, so we playing ping pong, table tennis. And I was winning. You get a little frustrated. He go back home. He orders a ping pong table to put in his basement.
To get better.
Everybody that come over there got to play ping pong.
Got to.
Playing ping pong. Everybody got to play ping pong.
Got to.
Then he had them put 2 or 3 ping pong tables in the Berto Center. So now you got the news people, the sports writers. Everybody got to play. He got pretty good at ping pong, that table tennis. His mind is wired.
Yeah, got to be the best.
Can't accept defeat.
I got a chance to play with Kobe, and when you're talking about the mental and just that drive to be the best at everything, I saw that in Kobe. And I remember the one thing Kobe used to tell me was, I want to be able to sit at the table with Mike, meaning he wanted that 6th ring and to be the greatest of all time. And then just like when you talk about Mike, despite all the stuff you're talking about he was doing, it's his mind.
I saw Kobe. I knew it was the Jelly Bean. We all come up about the same time. And Jelly Bean kept telling me, hey, you got to see my son. You got to see my son. I said, man, you got to see him. You got to see him. And I did. I went to see him. And I said, you're pretty good, Jelly Bean. Yeah, he's great. I said, well, let him go to Duke or something for a year. No. I said, well, you telling me he going to be senators and all of this stuff? Well, hell, I ain't seen none of them not go into a school and become that. Oh, he's going to be great. He's going to be great. So he went to Adidas, and then boom, boom, boom. When he finally came, he was out on campus. And I went over with him. We were working out. Kobe did about 3 hours with no basketball, no. I was like, whoa. Now, when we were leaving, I said, Cole, man, I ain't seen nobody work out. He said, you saw MJ, right? I said, that's right. I did. That's all MJ do. Yeah, I knew you saw MJ. I know you.
Putting on for you, huh? Just in case.
I said, okay. But that is what they call the Mamba.
Mm-hmm.
That, matter of fact, and true, we were talking about that the other day, and I asked the guy, he's from Africa, the king of the jungle. He said, you know, there's only but one king of the jungle. I said, what? Is that the lion? No. I said, what? Black Mamba.
Mm.
I said, you serious? That venom is deadly. When they strike,
It's over.
it's over. 10:50, it's over. So when you look at that mentality, what they actually are capable of doing, the body is the body is the body. People keep thinking that, hey, they got all of these physical traits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's everybody. Oh, hell, Dominique could probably jump higher than him. There's a zillion of them. This,
Mm-hmm. Different.
that clock is wound a little different.
Absolutely.
And I would tell him, I mean, here's the real difference. That ain't a great way to live life.
Yeah.
On a court,
Yeah.
perfect.
Life.
Life? Who you holding to them? Who
Yeah.
can you hold to that?
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. You're trying to hold somebody to those impossible standards.
Even yourself daily.
You can't do it.
It's a lot.
I mean, what? She did what? You was 45 minutes and you call that a workout? What is that? I mean, those standards.
Yeah. It's a lot. You getting tired talking about it.
But that's how they wired.
Shout out to Ben Affleck. We had a chance to sit down with him about 6 weeks ago on another project, but he talked to us about Air, and obviously Chris Tucker portrayed you
My man.
in that film. And legend has it that's MJ's favorite movie is Friday. But talk to us about seeing Chris portray you and just kind of seeing that project come to life.
You know, that, my man, you know, Tuck was the first one to call me and say, hey, you know, my agent called and they said they want me to play you in this film. I said, get out of here. He said, no, I'm serious. I said, they want you to play me in a, yeah. And I said, seriously? Yeah. I said, okay. We started. He said, I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but boom. Then Ben went down to visit with Michael because he said, if you don't want me to do this project, I won't do it. And they talked. He said, well, if you're gonna do a project about me and Nike, well, H got to be in there. That's been my mentor. He's guided me, you know, in the book. I don't know if I could make it my time in the league without him.
Mm-hmm.
Viola Davis need to play my mama. And hey, Rav, I like Rav. Rav should be in there. That's my guy too. So, you know, Ben called me. Tuck said, Ben gonna call you. I said, okay. And he talked about all the little nuances about the Moses and the this and all of these things, which actually was in the film. And then Tuck, I think, you know, Tuck did a great job. You know, Tuck was Howard White. Tuck played Howard White, and I thought it was great because that's my guy. So when you look at what that is, what that film is, a lot of people were, all that true? I said, that's a movie. But even Phil Knight said, after he said, that is the best representation of early Nike that I have ever seen.
Wow.
So people want to know what details. That ain't what you look at.
Mm-mm.
What you looking at, how did this become?
Big picture.
Yes, the big picture. And so I loved it. I think that, you know, Ben sent me one, I'm looking at it, and we all looking at it. Wow. First of all, you in a movie. That's crazy within itself.
Right. And then Chris Tucker too. I'm a huge Chris Tucker fan.
H.
So.
White in a real movie, like a movie on the screen. And Tuck good people. I mean, we'd known each other since, you know, We used to MJ's golf outings that we would have over in the Bahamas. And
How's your golf game, by the way? You've been around it for
I
a long
don't.
time. You don't golf. How?
Here's the problem. See, remember we start, know thyself well. See,
Respect.
and what I know about me, it's a little bit of that. I'm relentless. If I want to do something, I didn't just want to ride a bike.
I'm gonna be great at it.
I wanted to really ride a bike. I had to go to the Tour de France.
Lance Armstrong,
Got
who?
with Lance. Me and
Yeah.
Lance, we talking, and I'm over there, boom, boom. He win the tour. Hey, let's call MJ. Here's Lance Armstrong. He just won. Boom, boom. So I traveled everywhere with a bike. I mean, I'm gonna be a cyclist. When I wanted to play basketball, I'm too stupid now. So I'm gonna play all night. I'm gonna play. So I knew that the problem was this. If you're gonna be good at golf, you gotta go to the putting green, you gotta go to the driving range.
Every day.
You gotta go to, that's like all year. You gotta do this. I can't do that. Because I get addicted to things. Okay, I'm gonna start swimming. After I almost drowned my daughter, we was over. I'm like, because I couldn't, I grew up by the water, but that
Wasn't
was
your
like
friend, though.
fake swimming. And we got out, the thing got a little too far out there. I said, oh, Lord, if I fell off of here, I'm going to drown her trying to. So I had to come back and start taking swimming lessons. I took swimming lessons.
How old were you?
Well, I was grown. I mean, she was, at that time, probably 11 or 12. So, I'm in my 50s, and I'm like, so now I got to go swimming. Every time I traveled, I had swimming, stay at hotels with pools. I mean, my whole life became, I'm going to swim. And became a pretty good swimmer. I knew that was the exact same mentality that I would
Take with golf.
playing with golf.
Obsessed all the time.
See, my wife, they say, well, will he come? She said, no. He on the bike 5 hours a day. He do no. Why you think I wanted to play golf and be out there all night? And the reason I never played, remember the people you were around. MJ left when it was dark. He came back when it was dark. And it's the summer. No, they playing 1836. No.
Too much.
No. So now to beat them, I mean, I got to be out there even longer.
You made a good choice.
So I said, no.
You
I
made a
saw
good
you
choice.
golf instructor.
Yeah. Not you.
And they say it's addictive.
Oh, super.
See? Huh? No. This was crazy. Now, I generally, the most money I would ever carry with me was like $100. Because when I was growing up, my Uncle Buster was in the shipyard and they said, oh, he like make $100 a week. I was like, that's a lot of money. Wow. And then once I'll keep $100. So when they gambling and he get down, him said, man, give me that $100.
So, come on, Im. That's all I got on me.
I don't give me the $100. So I got to give him the $100. He would always get it. But that was their world. I go to Vegas with them. They up all night playing cards. No, I'm going to bed. I'm going to do what sensible people do.
Right.
So I think therein becomes how people see you. One guy told MJ, he was out, probably golf, drinking a little, and the guy said, M, you know H? You know I know H. Yeah, that's my mentor. Not deal with that drink in your hand. You might as well come on follow me because you ain't following him. So again, how people choose to see you. On the back of that book, Charles Barkley, MH was like the good angel on your shoulder, telling you what not to do. So my responsibility to them, because of something, now I got to talk to Granny. I got to go talk to Mama J.
Mm-hmm.
I got to talk to Tita.
Yeah.
No. Because their expectations, oh, he with age? Okay,
He good.
He good.
Yeah.
He good. Somebody said, well, I told my wife, oh, you told her what?
Not me.
No.
Don't put that bad energy on me.
Do not put me in that mix. So again, it's the world of, if you want people to follow, and I can tell you, I told Mr. Knight, I'm not saying my guys would do what I ask them to do, but I am saying that they will all listen.
That's all you can hope for.
That's it.
As a parent, father,
That's all.
I hope they listen. Before we get you out of here, I got a couple questions.
Shoot.
Obviously at Nike for a long time. Do you have any Bo Jackson or Deion Sanders stories?
Well, Prime was my guy. He was on the football. He came on. Well, I want to be on H's team. I want to be on H's team. Now, I remember the night I met Prime. A good friend of mine, they had dinner and, hey, come over here and meet Deion. So I went over and we hit it off. Now, they were going to play ball the next day. Hell, I hadn't had the knee op. I'm going to come out there. Oh, wait, don't do that. I said, no, I'll be fine. But I did go out there. Probably put me back about 2-3 weeks, but I went out there. But what Prime was really good, what people don't know, when the guys, he said, hey, this ain't what we do. You know what? Apologize to that person. You know what? Say something kind. Tell them, hey, that's how we do it. I said, that's how we do it. So being able to be a mentor.
Yeah.
And when he came back, when he went to Colorado and he came back, and he was like, no, I'm not going to be with Nike. And then when I called him, I said, hey, you good? I'll make sure you're good. He said, oh, you got me? I said, you good.
I appreciate that because I done got every new Deion Sanders since, and I appreciate that. And them shits come to the house. I be wearing them to the gym. Like, where you get those from, Deion?
So Prime is just good people. I mean, he really is. He's good people. And what people see of Prime and they think, oh, that's who Deion is. No. He is one of those meticulous people that really, really, really sees himself as a mentor, leading people, So, that's my guy. That's my guy.
Anything with Bo?
Bo Jackson. Bo, we're close. I think Lynn was dealing with him. But Bo would always come through. And, there was a time when Bo said, I'd never wear another Nike. That's it. I'm done. Never wear another Nike. And then brought him back in. And because Bo and MJ were very close. So we all became very close. Again, if you with M, then the whole world circulates through that. So wanting people, obviously Bo was talented. So again, everybody needs somebody to believe in them. That's just the way the world works. All of my guys, I believed in. And hence, I was rewarded by their belief in me. And the reason for me doing that is Nike. Nike actually gave me access to a world that would be hard to fathom. A world that they allowed me to create. Because it was bigger than people just wearing a product. It always came down to this is who we are.
You said something important, especially for athletes, is being able to trust. For them to be able to trust you speaks a lot about your character because we meet a ton of bad character people along this journey. And for these guys to be able to hone in on you and know that they can count on you, that says a lot about the man you are as well.
Well, my guy, one of my, obviously big boy, but Allen Iverson, A.I., Bubba Chuck, because I'm from Hampton. And I remember the day Boo called me, Boo Williams, he said, H, I got one. So what you talking about? I got one. But I need help with him, though.
A little rough around the edges.
Who is that? He said, it's Allen Iverson. I need help. So I go down. It just so happens his guidance counselor, Pat, we were in school together. So she's like, you exactly what he needs. So we became like that. And his mother, and I mean, we were all just very close. And Bubba, Allen, when he signed, I remember, boom, 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 we worked together. We're gonna sign him. First.
You were gonna sign him to Nike?
Well, Boo called me. He said, H, he out of school, man. He leaving school. I said, it's done. It's over.
Because in college, he wore nothing but Jordans.
Yeah, he just came home in a brand new Benz. He ain't going back to school. I said, really? You need to come down here, because Ann will do whatever you wanted to do. You need to come down here, sign him now. So I called Mr. Knight, and I said, Phil, I said, you know, they told me that Allen out of school. He's not going back. He said, well, I talked to John. I said, I just told you, he's out of school, he's not going back. He called John. Oh, I think he's coming back. He said, well, John, I said, he just came home in a brand new Benz. He is not going back. Well, you know, because of John, you know, let's don't do anything. Okay. Now, then David and all of them got involved, and boom, boom, boom. And I mean, again, I love that kid. And we got out, we came out, and David was doing all the negotiations. And Reebok had got in. And Reebok said, well, you know, we'll pay, but we want to give you, on top of that, this marketing money. So when you do marketing, you know, you already got the money. We already put it there. So that kind of drove it up pretty high. Now, we probably could have changed it around, but that's like more than MJ was making. I said, there's no way on any planet I'm doing that. Well, we could, nope. That ain't happening. All my people, we could do, no. And I remember he asked his mother, Mama, what about H? She said, well, we're gonna go for the money. And I love him. Even when we see each other today, that's my guy. And I think, and this is just being selfish, I think that Bubba had been one of my guys that I think it would have really helped him in a lot of ways.
If you're the good angel on the shoulder, yeah. I definitely agree. Tiger Woods.
T. Woody is pretty special now. First time I met Tiger, we was out on campus, Mom, Tita, Earl, his dad, and we were all just sitting around, we had lunch. And I'm listening to this whole conversation. Earl, Tita didn't say a lot then, but it's basically Earl, Tiger. And I listened. I left there and I called MJ. I said, M. I said, hey, I just saw you. He said, what? I just saw you. Take away the basketball court.
The vehicle.
I just saw you. He said, you never said anything like this. I said, it's a golf course, but I just saw you. I just saw you. And obviously, we see what Tiger, it was that mentality, that drive, that fierceness. Remember, Earl was a Green Beret, and he had probably Earl all his life.
Discipline.
This is what he had put into him. And Tiger was so young. I don't know how, it's hard
Yeah.
But when I walked out of there, I saw that. You know, we went to the first masters and these things, and you know, there was a mental, and I saw him. You know, he had the ping. We'd be at the house. He'd be playing. Man, he was not that kind. But you saw the will to win. You saw a will to win. So again, how you see the world is how the world sees you.
Any Tiger and MJ golf stories?
They do it what?
Any Tiger and MJ golf stories?
No. Remember, I ain't out on that golf
No,
course.
there you go. I was wondering if you heard anything. All right, well, man, this has been absolutely incredible. We got a couple of just quick hitters. First thing to come to mind, let us know. This is going to be tough for you. This is like all your babies on top of your real children. Top 5 Jordan sneakers of all times, model and make.
You know, you would obviously have to say ones.
Yep.
You know, that kind of set the standard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you would also have to go to Tinker threes.
Threes.
You have to go to threes. And I think that, you know, obviously 11 was
Those are my
something
favorite.
special in the boys that, you know, he always thought the boys, hey, they be wearing this to a prom.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, even when you look at the 4, the follow-up to the 3, Tinker was right on it. I'm going to tell you a secret one, that the 10. If you looked at the 10, on the bottom of all of MJ's accomplishments, and remember, he wasn't playing this when he was playing baseball. So that probably filled in a gap.
Yep.
That was able to keep that thing rolling.
Well, I was going to ask this might be the answer to that. Yeah, remember you just pointed to him. Yeah, you pointed to him. What's the most underrated Jordan sneaker you feel like?
Underrated?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you think about underrated, I think you have to think of, okay, what's the underdog? Sadly, he killed in everything he wore. I mean, so when you look at what is under or over, generally speaking, we have to then look at what sales did versus what he did. Maybe the one we find out it was a food poisoning game versus the flu game. To overcome that and do what he did.
I ain't mad at that. I get that. Your proudest moment at being with Nike?
My proudest moment? Ooh, boy, there been some moments. Probably my proudest moment at Nike had nothing to do with a shoe. My proudest moment was probably when Matt, Mr. Knight's son, passed. And when Mr. Knight got up, he said simply, if you have children, make sure you spend time with them. If you don't have children, spend time with a neighbor's children. If you don't have neighbors with children, give to organizations that take care of children, because they are our future.
Amen.
So I think, I mean, when you look at it from a father standpoint, a grieving father standpoint, it was about the future.
That's deep. Your favorite signature game of MJ's career?
Ooh, boy. Now that is a tough one. My favorite signature game.
Seen them all.
That is real. You know, I think my favorite signature moment overcoming the Pistons.
They beat them down
You
for a
know,
little
when
while.
you've been beat down for 3 years. And I said something to him that summer. I said, well, man, everybody got sick. Everybody had this. He asked a simple question. Have you ever had anything like that? I said, nope. He said, nor have I. And maybe we're holding the world to impossible standards. Just because I can overcome a lot of things, that does not mean the world can. So when you see that, then they go back the next year and win. The Breakfast Club, having Hop come over, having Pip come over, you know, lifting weights 6, 7 in the morning, having breakfast, then going to practice. That's signature.
I love that. That's dope. This is probably the one that's going to put you on the spot the most. If you could only wear one Jordan model for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
One.
Just one?
Well, maybe the two, because they the H white shoes.
Okay. There you go.
Well,
why did Nike decide to hire you? And what was the deciding factor?
I have no idea. You know, I think what happens is that when I told you that, just recently, so it was in the last 6 months, I asked John Lucas, why me? Now you have to remember, you know, number 1 player picked in the draft, in the NBA draft. Here's a guy that, you know, great tennis player, he knew all of these people in the league. Why me? He said, well, you want me to answer that? I said, yes. Morals and values.
That's big.
He said, morals and values. And I asked his sister about a week after that, Cheryl, who had been gone with the guy, with Kenny. I said, why did you recommend me for Nike? Now, this is what Cheryl said. Now, back then in the 80s, I knew it was God's plan for you and your family. Now, I don't know how to debate that.
Can't.
I said, really? See, I knew it was God's plan. And Luke, now, remember that this, they did everything under the sun. But there was something that they all said. I'm shuffling down the hall, going to the different rooms. Oh, Whitey coming. And I just eat munchies up and but there was something, for whatever reason, they saw that they believed in. Nike really never saw me. Kenny, I'm sure, told them, hey, this guy, I think this guy, you sent a resume, they probably talked to Lefty, but they never saw me. And they hired me. So I would assume, hey, East Coast field rep, yada, yada, yada. Maybe they just didn't know that they would have an evangelist for their brand. Someone that, unbeknownst to them, could carry the meaning of a brand. So maybe there are the universe or their eyes when it said, when I said, well, maybe I ain't supposed to be no great basketball player. If I was, why would I keep getting hurt? I said, I must not be here for
Different
that.
calling.
So maybe sometimes you just follow the yellow brick road. Don't get off where it say no trespassing. Don't get off there. Don't go eat the apples over there. Stay on the yellow brick
Stay on the
road.
path.
And I think that I've been fortunate that for 40-some years that the world, or not the world, but the Nike world has seen me as something more than just a guy that's there. And I believe in this place, and it's not the selling of anything. It's the belief in everything.
Yep.
And for me, around the world, when someone says they can put on that swoosh or they can put on that jump man and say, man, what can I do? What can I do? Because if they think H did something, which H hasn't done much of anything, and the significance of surviving a heart transplant. Wow. What does that mean? It means that in effect, you exist because someone else had to leave. I owe a debt of gratitude. I owe a thank you to the universe. I owe a thank you to a drug company that could make a drug so that other people may not have to suffer. That's a big responsibility. And because the little old lady said, kindness will never go out of style. Even a dog can wag his tail when it passes you on the street. So Nike probably did not know they were hiring me for that. They probably thought they were getting an ex-basketball player that is an ex-basketball player. They had no idea that they would be getting someone that believed in a simple premise what greatness really is. And I can tell the world this, Matt, right on your show. It's pretty simple. You want something in life? Have a crystal clear vision. Decide what you're willing to give up or sacrifice in a world that not many people are willing to give up anything to get what they want. Write it down. They say only 20% of the people in the world have written, definite, positive goals. Just by writing it down, hell, you done surpassed 80% of the people on the planet. Go out and make it happen. You will fall, you will scrape your knees, you will cry, you will pound the ground. But when you emerge, and I've offered, my guys asked me last night, wow. Garrett asked me the other day, he was on campus, he said, H, you one of those apex predators? I said, no, because that's dominance. Miles Garrett, that's what you do. I'm emergence. I am the transformation of a little boy that struggled to become a decent athlete, to become the one person with a single letter on a uniform, to going to Nike, to being able to help transform and help young people believe that they could be greater than whatever sport they play. We all can climb. The dragonfly is the only only animal that lived a whole life underwater and a whole life in the air. My movie, The Dragonfly, is a statement of transformation, not just for H. White, but for the world.
Mm.
Thank you, sir.
I love that. When you look back at that first breath to where you sit today, give me one word that would describe your journey.
Emergence.
There it is. We appreciate your time, man. You're a living legend. You mean so much to so many different people, and we appreciate you sitting down and taking time to share a little bit of your story with us, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
H. White, H, the godfather of Nike, man. You guys seen it. You're here with me, man. You can catch this on All the Smoke YouTube and the DraftKings Network. We'll see you guys next week.